Welcome back to our chilling series, where we journey into the shadowy corners of America's haunted past. In this fifth episode of Most Haunted Civil War Sites in the United States, we delve deeper into the spectral remnants of a conflict that tore the nation apart and left scars not only on the land but also on the souls who lived and died during those tumultuous years. The American Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was a crucible of bloodshed, sacrifice, and heartbreak, and its echoes still reverberate through battlefields, hospitals, prisons, and homes across the country. From Antietam's blood-soaked fields to the haunting halls of Andersonville Prison, these sites are more than just historical landmarks. They are vessels carrying the weight of countless tragedies. They bear witness to stories of valor and despair, love and loss, betrayal and redemption. It is said that places steeped in such profound human emotion often become conduits for the supernatural, where the spirits of soldiers, civilians, and victims refuse to fade into oblivion. These locations are rife with tales of ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and unexplained phenomena that defy logic and reason. In this episode, we'll traverse some of the most infamous Civil War sites believed to be haunted, uncovering the dark histories that give rise to their spectral legends. We'll explore eerie battlefields frozen in time, walk the haunted corridors of antebellum mansions, and peer into the depths of abandoned fortifications where the cries of the fallen still echo. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic events that bind these hauntings to the present day. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of America's bloodiest war, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. Gettysburg Battlefield, a haunting legacy. Few places in the United States evoke the raw intensity of the Civil War quite like Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where the bloodiest battle of the conflict unfolded over 3 fateful days in July 1863. This hallowed ground witnessed unprecedented carnage, with over 50,000 casualties, killed, wounded, or missing, etched forever into the annals of history. Today, Gettysburg stands as both a monument to bravery and a magnet for paranormal activity, drawing visitors eager to glimpse the spectral echoes of soldiers who never found peace. One of the most enduring legends tied to Gettysburg revolves around Devil's Den, a rocky outcrop that served as a strategic stronghold during the battle. Here, Union sharpshooters clashed fiercely with Confederate forces, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. Visitors exploring Devil's Den have reported seeing ghostly figures clad in tattered uniforms, their faces obscured by smoke and shadows. Some claim to hear the crackle of gunfire and the agonized screams of wounded men, though no one else is present. Others describe feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if unseen eyes are watching their every move. Another prominent figure in Gettysburg's haunted lore is believed to be General John Reynolds, who fell early in the battle while leading his troops near McPherson's Ridge. According to eyewitness accounts, his spirit has been spotted riding a phantom horse along the same ridge, urging his men forward despite the chaos unfolding around him. Witnesses describe seeing a tall, imposing figure atop a steed, his voice barking orders before disappearing into thin air. Paranormal investigators using thermal imaging cameras have captured heat signatures matching the description of a mounted soldier, lending credence to the legend. The battlefield's Little Round Top, a crucial position defended heroically by the 20th Maine Regiment under Colonel Joshua Chamberlain, is another hotspot for supernatural encounters. Soldiers stationed here reportedly claimed they could see shadowy figures moving among the trees at dusk, as though reinforcements were arriving too late to alter fate. Modern-day visitors recount hearing faint whispers of, "Hold the line," and "Don't let them break," accompanied by the sensation of being brushed by unseen hands. One particularly chilling account involves a tourist who swore he saw a young boy in Union garb standing beside him, pointing toward the summit before vanishing without explanation. Even off the battlefield, Gettysburg's haunted legacy persists. The Jenny Wade House, named after the only civilian killed during the battle, is said to be haunted by her restless spirit. Guests staying overnight report hearing the sound of glass shattering, a nod to the fatal bullet that pierced her door, and seeing objects move inexplicably across rooms. Others claim to feel a sudden coldness enveloping them, followed by the soft rustle of skirts, as though Jenny herself were passing by. Paranormal investigators exploring Gettysburg have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in areas associated with heavy fighting, while EVP recordings capture fragmented phrases like, "help me," and "retreat." One investigator captured a photograph of what appears to be a translucent soldier kneeling beside a cannon, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Such findings have solidified Gettysburg's reputation as one of the most active haunted sites in the United States. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Gettysburg continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of freedom and unity. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Gettysburg offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. Antietam National Battlefield, blood-stained grounds on September 17, 1862, the rolling hills and cornfields of Sharpsburg, Maryland, became the stage for the single bloodiest day in American military history. Over 23,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or listed as missing during the Battle of Antietam, a brutal clash that marked a turning point in the Civil War. Today, Antietam National Battlefield stands as a solemn reminder of the horrors of war, and a place where the spirits of those who perished continue to linger, trapped between worlds. One of the most haunting locations within Antietam is the Sunken Road, infamously known as Bloody Lane. This sunken dirt path transformed into a killing field as wave after wave of Union and Confederate soldiers exchanged fire, leaving hundreds dead and dying in its confines. Visitors walking along this stretch often report feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, as though the anguish of the fallen permeates the very air. Some claim to hear faint moans and cries emanating from the earth itself, while others describe seeing shadowy figures crouched in defensive positions, their forms dissolving when approached. One particularly unsettling account comes from a park ranger who swore he saw a man in a gray uniform lying motionless in the road, only for the figure to vanish when he called out to check if the person needed assistance. Another focal point of paranormal activity is Burnside Bridge, where Union troops launched a desperate assault against entrenched Confederate forces. Eyewitnesses have reported seeing ghostly soldiers marching across the bridge at dawn and dusk, their movements synchronized yet devoid of any living presence. Others recount hearing the distinct sound of boots trampling wooden planks, even when no one is nearby. Some visitors claim to feel a sudden chill sweeping through the area, accompanied by the acrid smell of gunpowder, as though the battle is unfolding all over again. The Pry House Field Hospital Museum, located near the battlefield, adds another layer of supernatural intrigue to Antietam's haunted legacy. Once used as a makeshift hospital for wounded soldiers, the house bears witness to unimaginable suffering. Staff members and guests alike report hearing faint groans and pleas for help emanating from empty rooms. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Medical tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a visitor who swore she saw a surgeon amputating a leg in the corner of the room, complete with the grisly details of blood-streaked bandages and severed limbs, all of which disappeared when she blinked. Modern-day investigations into Antietam's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including Bloody Lane and Burnside Bridge. Electromagnetic field, EMF, meters register unusual spikes, particularly near monuments dedicated to fallen regiments. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Antietam remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering one of the countless spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the battlefield grounds, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in Antietam's macabre legacy? Andersonville Prison. Shadows of suffering nestled in the rural landscape of Georgia lies Andersonville Prison, a name synonymous with suffering and survival during the darkest days of the Civil War. Officially known as Camp Sumter, this Confederate prisoner of war camp operated from February 1864 to April 1865, housing over 45,000 Union soldiers in conditions so deplorable that nearly 13,000 perished from disease, starvation, and exposure. Today, Andersonville stands as a somber testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and a place where the spirits of those who endured unimaginable hardship continue to haunt its grounds. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Andersonville centers around the prison's infamous deadline, a wooden fence erected around the compound to prevent escape attempts. Crossing this line meant instant death, either by gunshot or hanging. Decades later, visitors exploring the site report hearing faint moans and cries emanating from the remnants of the deadline. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approach the site. Another haunting figure associated with Andersonville is believed to be Captain Henry Wirz, the commandant of the prison whose controversial leadership earned him a place in history as the only Confederate officer executed for war crimes. According to local lore, Wirz's ghost wanders the grounds, his ethereal form clad in Confederate uniform. Guests visiting the site have reported seeing a pale figure pacing restlessly near the reconstructed stockade, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others describe hearing faint whispers of accusation and defense, as though someone is conducting a trial. The prison cemetery, where thousands of Union soldiers are buried, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Visitors walking among the weathered headstones often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of prisoners buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men and women in period clothing, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the graves. Paranormal investigators exploring Andersonville have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the reconstructed stockade and the cemetery. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the prison museum, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the site's reputation as one of the most active haunted locations in the United States. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Andersonville continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of freedom and unity. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Andersonville offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. The Myrtles Plantation, ghosts of the Old South deep in the heart of Louisiana, shrouded by ancient oaks and Spanish moss, stands the Myrtles Plantation, a grand antebellum estate that has earned its place among America's most haunted homes. Built in 1796, the plantation's elegant facade belies a dark and violent history marked by murder, betrayal, and tragedy. Over the centuries, it has become infamous not only for its architectural splendor but also for the restless spirits said to roam its halls, making it a magnet for thrill-seekers and paranormal enthusiasts alike. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Myrtles Plantation revolves around Chloe, a slave girl whose story has become synonymous with the property's haunted reputation. According to folklore, Chloe served as a nanny to the Woodruff family, who owned the plantation in the early 19th century. Suspicious of her intentions, the mistress of the house allegedly accused Chloe of eavesdropping and cut off her ear as punishment. Seeking revenge, Chloe baked a poisoned cake intended for the family, inadvertently killing 2 of the children and sending shockwaves through the community. Her ghost is said to wander the plantation, clad in a green turban, forever tormented by guilt and regret. Visitors report seeing a woman in period attire gliding silently through the parlor, her face obscured by shadows, while others describe hearing faint humming emanating from empty rooms, believed to be Chloe tidying up after guests long gone. Another prominent figure in the plantation's haunted lore is believed to be William Drew Winter, a lawyer who resided at the Myrtles in the mid-1800s. Historical records indicate that Winter was fatally shot on the front porch of the house following a heated argument, staggering inside and collapsing before taking his last breath. His ghost is said to haunt the staircase, his ethereal form clad in formal attire. Guests visiting the plantation have reported hearing faint footsteps descending the staircase, followed by a deafening crash, as though someone has fallen again. Others describe seeing a pale man staring mournfully out of upstairs windows, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Adding to the plantation's haunted allure are the countless gatherings and celebrations that took place within its walls during its heyday. Many believe residual energy from these events remains trapped within the structure, manifesting as phantom sounds of laughter, music, and conversation. At night, when the mansion is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the distant strains of a piano and the low murmur of revelry, as though a party from another era continues to unfold. Paranormal investigators exploring the Myrtles plantation have captured compelling evidence of its supernatural activity. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near the staircase and the balcony railing, where many of the tragedies unfolded. Audio recordings pick up fragmented phrases like "help me" and "don't let go," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless at the midpoint of the staircase before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Myrtles plantation remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering Chloe or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the plantation grounds, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in the plantation's macabre legacy? As we traverse the haunted landscapes of Civil War sites, from the blood-soaked fields of Gettysburg to the desolate confines of Andersonville Prison, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture and terrain in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic battlefields, with their labyrinthine trenches, thick forests, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted Civil War sites captivate us? What is it about haunted Civil War sites that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through the most haunted Civil War sites in the United States to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted Civil War sites yourself. Walk the same fields where soldiers once clashed, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.